All right, the race here today is one from Sebring track, and so we're here on the front straightaway to start here. Sebring is a 3.7 mile, 17 turn road course in Central Florida, and so the track. What's important about that is the track is cement, and it's mostly cement, and it's bumpy, and so you'll see the suspension working as we go through some of these turns. Um, Actually, let me back up a tiny bit. One of the tricky turns is turn one. It's a blind left-hander that's pretty long and bumpy. So as we go through here doing slow motion, you can see the car kind of bounce over the bumps. We kind of cut to the inside a little bit here, uh, but you can see kind of the car bouncing around, bouncing on exit, shifting around kind of underneath you the whole time, kind of sliding a little bit and bouncing. And so the cement sections which are coming onto the front straight and then coming off of that front straight, and then through the middle of some of these turns here, kind of bouncing. Um, this turn is pretty tricky. Uh, it leads onto a bit of a straight, and so what you really want to do is kind of late apex it here. And here I'm kind of early apexing it, so I'm losing some speed, but basically you want to turn later. Um, so here I want to stay out wider later, like where this rubber mark is, and not turn in too early, because then you can't get enough turning done by the time you get to this exit over here. And we see how that's a problem here as we come through, kind of playing with the throttle, playing with the brake, but we don't quite get the car turned enough. So now we got to brake and turn a lot on exit, um, which means we don't have a full run coming out of here of being on throttle smoothly coming onto this. And we had to kind of do a little bit of late turning and braking, which is not optimal. Another interesting part of the track is heading into this turn here. I don't know. This is going to be like maybe turn five or something. I lose count of uh, what the turn numbers are. But basically, our braking point is about just after the three cone mark, almost to about halfway here. Hard braking, and then you want to sort of be turning in and fade just off your brakes as you're turning in to help get the car to rotate right here. So if we watch this braking carefully, we'll go quarter speed. So look at the brake. We're still in the brake, kind of fading off the brake as we start to turn in, still in the brake, and then now we're finally getting off the brake right there. So as we're already turning into and back on the brake a tiny bit, just helping the car rotate, helping the rear of the car to kind of slide a little bit so that the front of the car is the angle of the car is pointing the right direction. These turns are nothing special, flat out. You can see the sun is going down right now. The race is going to be in the dark. This turn is kind of straightforward, but it's a 90-degree right-hander, and so the braking is right about where the three cone is. You have four cones here, and then three cones, so it's I guess that's 300 meters from the turn. Uh, to kind of get hard on the brakes right there, sort of in a straight line, start getting back off the brake, but still trailing some brake through here to help that rotation. Then back on the throttle as early as you kind of feel you can, and then it's flat through these next couple of turns. Flat meaning full throttle. Here you're kind of turning. You're still turning, even though you're full throttle through here. And I try to basically kind of aim to be about where that two cones are right there. That's basically where I kind of want to be braking right just before that, and about as far to the left is where I want to be, is right about that two cone as well. And so we'll see how well this works out as we come in here. Here you're kind of flat. You're flat through this section right here, flat through here, and then you get on the brake gently right here and then lift back off gently because you have kind of a sort of long turn through here. It's a second gear-ish turn, third. You may be able to do it in third. And you kind of snake here. And you got to get out wide enough here to get the car turned back here. So the important part is the exit of this turn because it leads onto a long straightaway. That's always important. Every turn leading onto a long straightaway is super important to get the best exit you possibly can. So this is probably one of the trickiest turns on the track because you're swinging basically what kind of looks like off track, and then you got to apex this turn right, but you're doing it from such a far distance back and so far to the left. Getting it just right is tricky, and you can easily get off track to the inside if you take too much curb, and you can run wide if you get on the throttle a little too early, too hard, like too aggressive on the throttle. So you need a good exit for this long straightaway, um, because it's so long. It's high speed. Any additional speed you can carry onto it, you get to carry it all the way down the straightaway. So now we're heading into, I don't know what the turn number is. I guess it's 17, since it's a 17 turn course. But this is called Sunset, and so you can start turning in before getting on the brakes. Some people brake a little bit or just kind of barely on the brake as they head in. And the critical part about 17 is it's from one long straightaway onto another long straightaway. Makes it really important. It's also really high speed and it's really long. It's basically a 180-degree turn. Um, and so we'll go through here and show that. Actually, we'll switch to in-car. We'll do cockpit view. So you can kind of get an idea of, oops, change our field of view here. Let's go about there. All right. You can hear that noise. That's the tires breaking loose and catching and breaking loose and catching, kind of bouncing. It's a very bumpy through there. And then we're back on the front straight. So it's a bumpy track. The bumps are important. They can catch you out if you kind of bounce awkwardly. You can lose the front end if it catches the bounce while you're hard on the brakes. Or you can lose the rear end if you're accelerating too hard and you when you hit those bumps. So that's the challenging part of it. And all right, let's go ahead and jump to the race. So we are starting 24th. Starting 24th here. Um, and this is a 40-minute race. We'll try to just skip to the good parts. But the starts of these are always interesting. So here we go. It's a rolling start. Um,
1 gallon remaining. Bell has just retired from the race.
so the race is just starting right about now. Green flag must have flown. Switch to a better view. You can see lots of chaos, lots of craziness. That's us in the yellow car there, the 23. So let's back up and look at that real quick in car. Or we'll do it from chase view. All right. So I'm just taking it easy here. I hit the brakes on the front straight. Lots of cars everywhere. I see these guys starting to wreck. It's unclear where exactly they're going to pop back out and how they're going to be going. So just taking it easy. We started from basically dead last or pretty close to it. Um, so it can get a little wild. Oh, somebody else is through the grass on the left. Coming back on. They're going to be slow. Where are they going to come into traffic, into the cars? People losing their tempers a little bit.
The road is yours. I'm sorry, man. I hit the grass just a little bit. Seriously, Fabio? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Looks like P6 has gone off in Fangio chicane.
We got a 40 minutes race.
So some hot tempers there. Basically, some people.
Dude.
The front brakes already lighting up there. On the brakes hard. Getting into the hairpin at turn 4 or 5, whatever it's called. See if we can do a little onboard here. For some reason, I'm having some problems with switching the cameras. Got a car to our inside. You can see we're going through Sunset. This is the last turn before heading out back onto the front straight. So he got to our inside. We're bouncing through those turns. Through the turn, you can hear the tires sort of scuffing, kind of scraping along the road. wide entry here is kind of what I like to do, and then cut it kind of close to the inside of the apex there, just to give us the most amount of margin of safety. That sound, that kind of sound, is the tires sliding along the track. Generally, it's the fronts that you're hearing. The blue car in front of us is definitely looking. He feels like he's faster, and he's looking for the inside line on that red and white car in front of him. So in a situation like this, it's still pretty early on. It's a 40-minute race, but we want to be close to the car in front of us, close enough to take advantage. If he makes the pass, oh, somebody spun there. There's a car facing the wrong way in the grass. Let me see if I can get a little bit better view here. See a little more out the windshield here. This is about what my view is. I can't really see my mirrors unless I turn my head. Braking kind of gently in here. This is an easy spot for people to spin out. Usually see one or two people spin in that section right there. This is the tough turn leading on to that back straightaway. See, try to use all the road, all the curb. It's easy to go a little too far. But you really want to get a good exit, and you want to get a good draft on this very long straightaway. This turn through Sunset here, there's a lot of different ways to take it. I feel like I take it differently every time, and I feel like I always leave a little bit on the table. Never feels like you got it perfect. And again, you hear the tires kind of squealing there, sort of. I thought I saw lights flash behind me. You can flash your high beams. You can set a button to do it, and so some people really like to flash their high beams when they're behind you. I think they see the pros do it when passing lap traffic, and so they feel like they should just flash it on everybody, and everybody will move out of their way. I feel like it works the opposite. If you catch me really quickly and I think you're faster, I'm probably just going to let you through pretty easy. If you're not that much faster and you're flashing lights like crazy, I'm definitely going to make the car wide. I saw right there, we're car number, oh, we had a 19 on the window, but a 2 on the side. So I think the 2 on the side is our I rating, and the 19 in the window is our current position, maybe? So that means that 5 car that we just passed, he was in 5th on the last time he crossed the start-finish line, and now he's falling back quickly. So he must have had, he must have gone off and come back on or something, like spun.
There's an incident in Le Mans.
Oh, there's somebody facing the wrong way. On a straightaway. That was quite weird. We're heading into Sunset. Looks like I haven't watched this replay before, and whoa, you can see the bounce right there. I don't know if you caught that. Let's back that up a little bit. All right, let's go. So this down. When we switch cameras, you can kind of see it. If you look at the car right now, we hit a bump right there. Get at least 2 tires off the ground, 4 tires off the ground. So we bounce like 2 or 3 times in a row right there. The bumps here are really big, especially in Sunset. So if you go over those bumps and you turn the wheel while you're in the air, it's not going to go well. Looks like I let that car through for some reason. I think I remember what happened now, or maybe it happens later. But it's really confusing what order we're in, because some people are pitting or pitting early. I think it's too early to pit, but that guy had some damage. I could see his rear wing is all bent. Um, yeah, his rear wing is really damaged. So he may have already gone in the pits and come back out. So he may show as being like, I don't know, in 25th position, and we're in 18th, and he's all over our butt and catching us quickly. So like, let him by. We're not really racing him for position. There's no need to fight with him. There's no need to get taken out by him. Whoop, we got a little bit loose there. Um, so when you see moments like that, watch the rear end of the car, and then you see it kind of straighten up real quick. Um, so moments like that show you like driving at the limit. And if we went to the in car right there, we'd see it as well. We'd see the hands. Um, I don't know why my camera selection isn't working. Okay, so watch the hands. We're going through a right-hander and we're about to go to a left-hander, and we'll go half speed. The hands still turning. Oh, whoop, whoop, and then back on it. Uh, it's kind of sawing at the wheel, sort of dirt track style. Um, the flashing in the car disappearing behind us is just internet connection issues, most likely on his end. The network, the server uh, didn't get information about where the position of his car was for a little bit there. I ran a little bit wide. He gets a good run. This is coming on the back stretch. There, we're going down the back stretch right now. So he was in 20th. I'm in 18th.
There's an incident in Sunset.
So there's somebody wrecking in front of us. Somebody in Sunset. There's an incident, and we're going through Sunset right now. So it's this car right here, this greenish car. He spun or lost some positions or hit a wall or something. So that's what the spotter was warning us about. Caught a lot of curb there. We caught like way too much curb on. I'm trying to get this turn a little better to get the car turned more, and so I should be doing the opposite thing. I should be farther out here, wider, and turning kind of later. But because I turned so early, I got onto the curb, and that didn't let me turn as much. So now I really had to lift off probably to brake in order to make this turn. But you can see how high the car is up in the air right there. Um, we hit that. That's a tall inside curb, and we hit it hard, and so that bounced us right up in the air. And so you got to kind of straighten out your steering and lift off your throttle a little bit when you do that. So we definitely lost time with that, uh, and the car would have bounced as it came back down, which means even when it touches the ground,
Incident in the hairpin. It looks like it's
you
on
don't
the
have full
outside.
grip because it's the car's hitting the ground and then bouncing off the ground and then hitting the ground. So it's not a smooth movement for the suspension. Do the chase view for a second. You can see it's getting darker out there. I feel like the darkness is not really. Um, the headlights are bright enough. It's not really that bad, that difficult. The problem is if a car spins or is aiming the wrong way on the track, it's harder to see them and also harder to figure out which way they're facing. Um, Also, if you don't have the track memorized, then when it's dark, you're probably really struggling. And the other part would be like, oh, somebody spun right there. Right where we're talking.
There's an
Oh,
incident
two guys
in
spun.
Gendevier.
So, Gin Devier, apparently that's the name of that turn. Uh, So this yellow car up in front on the other side of the green car had already spun, and then we're arriving here, and this green car right in front of me, he sees it and lifts off. I think he lifts off the throttle. He got on the brake hard, and then he lifts off the throttle, I think, right here. Uh, and so when you lift off the throttle, you have engine braking, which basically slows down only the rear tires, not the fronts, just the rears. And so quickly jumping out of the throttle uh, after he was already like had been on the brakes and turning sharply causes the rear end to step out, and so that causes him to spin. So it's easy to make that mistake, um, but that's what happened to him.
Incident in Gender BM.
You can see it's kind of sun has gone down, but we still have a little bit of light in the sky. It's not completely dark yet. Got nobody in front of us. Let's go ahead and skip forward a lap. We're on lap 6 right now. We just started lap 6.
The car ahead's pitting now.
Okay, now we're on lap 7. So some people starting their pit stops. I can see now on the dash, I never really paid attention to it before, there's a fuel calc number, and I think this is saying how many more laps you can go on your fuel. So looks like we can go 5.5 more laps on our fuel. Let's go ahead and skip ahead again. 4.6, there's nobody in front of us. I'm not sure there's anybody behind us. Switch to another camera angle. No, nobody around us. We're on lap 9. Let's skip to lap 10. Go lap 11. All right, let's see how we're doing on fuel. Let's jump back to the in-car view. 2.5 laps we can go on fuel. All right. We can go 1.5 laps on fuel, so we're probably going to pit this lap, or we should pit this lap, it looks like. Fuel low is flashing on the dash there, you can see. Now it's darker. You can see it's much darker around. So there's no light in the sky. The reflectors and the cones and these sort of things just kind of sort of pop up at you sometimes. As soon as your lights move across them as you're turning. I feel like this turn I don't take quickly enough going through the right-hander. This turn coming up right here, this right-hander coming up right now, I feel like I do pretty good at. I laid apex that pretty well. Caught a lot of curb that time. But often I notice I make up some ground through there.
Okay, Jay. 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left. Come on, man. Keep pushing.
This is when you got to be kind of gentle on. This is where we saw the spin before. Too far. I missed the apex there. So when you miss the apex, you got to not get on the throttle as hard because you don't have as much track to use. So it's all kind of a little bit of a calculation of how much the car is turned, how hard you can get on the throttle. We should pit this time. It's like we're holding to the inside a little bit more because we're going to pit. So you want to try to enter the pit lane sort of as quick as you can, but you don't want to speed when you cross these yellow cones.
Activate limiter.
That's sort of backfiring your here, and it's just the speed limiter
300 feet.
turns on automatically in this series. Stop, we're getting fuel. Just waiting for the fuel, waiting for the fuel. Go. Again, back on the rev limiter, speed limiter, until those green cones. So now we're heading through turn 1. You got to look and see who's coming up behind, how close they are, so you don't jump out right in front of somebody.
The leader is pitting now.
So the leader pitted after we did, so they stretched their fuel a little bit better. I was really not thinking about fuel mileage or stretching it or anything like that, but I guess he was close to making it one more lap and maybe planned on it from the beginning or something to go one more lap. But definitely he got an extra lap on his fuel stint than we did. So that would mean he's not on the throttle as hard, which means it's smoother onto the throttle and maybe more quickly off the throttle, rolling the car into the turn a little bit more. Switch to the cockpit view, since there's not a whole lot to see from that view because it's so dark. Gin de Vive, whatever we call it, going through here.
The car ahead's pitting.
Go way late, way out to the left, come back to the right, back on the throttle hard. So with other people pitting different times, coming out different times, it gets a little bit confusing when you see the running order, because the running order is updated when people cross the start-finish line. So if something's happened after the start-finish line is right here. If something happens right now in position-wise, it's not updated till one lap from now, till the end of this lap. So it can be confusing what is reported of who's in what position when positions drastically change. Oh, ran way wide. So that's what I was talking about, of trying to get the car turned enough and then get back on the throttle early enough to go down this flat out part. And braking hard as late as you can here, but not too late. You get turned in to use the inside. If our inside tires are not over the inside curb, or at least touching the curb, the edge of it,
The gap to Bailey ahead is now 16 seconds.
that's not ideal. So that's basically that. Let's see, we can look at lap times here. Our fastest lap was lap 16. That's 2 laps from now. We ended up doing a total of 20 laps, mostly in the 202s. 210 must have been where we had our pit stop, maybe, or 232. Kind of both of those, because you slow down on the way into the pits, and then you're stuck in your pit while you're getting fuel, so it kind of affects both those laps.
5 minutes remaining, 5 minutes left. Okay, Jay.
And then we're 202s consistently after that. I hear another car, maybe? Yeah. All right, let's see what happens here. So it says we're 16, and car behind us says 15. Oh, now it reversed. Now we're 15 and he's 16th. But what I saw in car on the display was showing me that he was like, I think 27th or something. It's right here, I think. Coming onto this little short chute right here, I just sort of stay to the inside and tap the brake, I think. Maybe it was right here.
The guy behind's reeling you in. The gap's now 0.45.
All right there, I stay to the outside and just tap the brake. And so I let him by, thinking, well, he's like 22nd or 27th or something. And he's catching me quickly. Let me just let him by. I didn't realize that that was not up-to-date information, and so I let a car for position by. Um, just not great, but when I realized it, like the next lap when the position's updated, and then I could see that the car in front of me is for position, uh, it was probably a good thing because he was a little bit faster than me, and I probably shouldn't have been trying to battle. Uh, so it was kind of good that I let him through because he's quicker. He might have taken me out trying to battle, or I might have uh, lost control or something trying to battle. It's probably smarter just to keep it clean, finish the race. He would have got by me anyway, I believe. Um, so that's just an example of that sort of Mark Martin philosophy there. I did kind of on accident of like racing the racetrack, not racing the other cars. So I didn't intend to do it, but that's what happened. All right, so that's pretty much the race there. Not a whole lot changes here in the order. So let's see the results. We finished 14th, so currently we're running 15th. So somebody else must have maybe had a mistake, or we got by another car or something. Um, but we started 24th, we finished 14th. It was a 40-minute race, 20 laps, long laps in the dark, in a car I'm not super familiar with, but kind of enjoy driving. So cool. Thanks for watching.